After Myanmar's military seized power, new allegations reveal the junta's continuing brutality. Local media published images of the aftermath of an alleged military attack on a village, killing around 100 people. And a warning, the images you're about to see are graphic. These photos show bodies of victims, as well as destroyed buildings, vehicles and other debris. The ousted civilian administration says children and pregnant women are among the dead and wounded. The National Unity Government called it a heinous act that constitutes a crime of war. Local media report Myanmar's military dropped 2 bombs and then fired on the northern village as many were gathering for the opening of a new town office on Tuesday. Reuters is reporting the junta says it carried out an attack targeting rebels and that if civilian casualties occurred, it was because they were forced to help, quote, terrorists. Tom Andrews is the UN Special Rapporteur for Myanmar. He is with us this hour from Washington. Tom, thank you for taking time to speak with us.
Thank you, John.
So here's a tweet with a question for the UN from the leader of the National Shadow Government in Myanmar. Heartbroken by the latest aerial massacre in Sagaing, the Myanmar junta continues to commit brutal atrocities, killing at least 50, including children. I implore the UN, how many more massacres must occur before you take action? How much longer will our people suffer under this? So how many more massacres, Tom? 10, 100, 200? How many more dead children before anyone notices, before anyone cares?
John, that's a very, very good question. I'm asked that a lot by people in Myanmar. They feel that the world has not only ignored them, but forsaken them. And they wonder, why is it that the world can respond so forcefully to situations like the invasion of Ukraine, but has failed to take the requisite action to help a very desperate country that is under assault by this military? I think it's a fair question, and I think that world leaders have to ask themselves this very question, starting with those who are supplying the junta with the weapons that they are using to kill innocent people, commit war crimes and crimes against humanity. It is just absolutely outrageous. But then also those who condemn these killings, who say that they support the people of Myanmar. The fact is that the response by the international community has been disjointed. Has not been organized. It's not been strategic. And unlike the coordinated approach that we've seen with respect to the crisis in Ukraine, the international response in Myanmar has been anything but focused and strategic. That is exactly the kind of response that the people of Myanmar are looking for, but yet have yet to be seen by the international community.
Yeah, and that question should really be addressed to member states, because unless the member states act, the UN can't do a whole lot. Now, at the time of the coup 2 years ago, military dictators said they would hold on to power for 2 years. Emergency measures, they said, to restore calm and security. Not that it needed restoring, but that's what they said. They were hoping to be holding sham elections by now, but the security situation has only gotten worse. So is that why there has been this increase in the use of air power, warplanes, helicopter gunships, targeting civilians? And does that mean these atrocities are likely to continue and occur more often?
They are likely to continue, John. We've seen a significant uptick in the use of helicopter gunships and these jets, fighter jets that are dropping bombs on villages, IDP centers, and other civilian targets in Myanmar. The problem for the junta is that they fully expected that they'd have complete control of the country by now, and that they could run these sham elections. Well, they're losing control of the country. They're losing ground. Things are much more unstable on the ground than they've ever been, and they continue to become more and more unstable. So their soldiers, who they have put on the ground, are finding themselves to be subject to attacks. To ordnance of various kinds, guerrilla attacks by people in these areas and villages that are very strongly opposed to the military junta. So as a result of that, they're using air power more and more. And of course, as they do so, more and more civilians are being killed because that ordnance being dropped from the air does not distinguish between its targets. And so men, women, children, even young children, including what we saw today in Sagaing region, have perished under these bombs and these aerial gunships.